Hey, welcome. I'm JT, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how I carried NIGHTBLUE3 in this Diamond 1 game on my Smurf. As you can see in the loading screen, we've got Silas top and Kled mid, and me and the set were both a little confused. You'll see he ends up with armor runes and I have MR runes because we thought it was going to be Silas mid and Kled top, but it turns out that it's not. So NIGHTBLUE3 on the Poppy jungle. So yeah, as you can see, the set pinged his armor and my MR, and I was still unsure if it was actually going to be Kled mid. I was hoping it would be Ignite Kled top, so you can see on my scoreboard I switched it, but then I switched it back. And I usually like to get a ward early on because I have Ghost Poro. I take Ghost Poro pretty much every game of SYNDRA just to be safe. And in early laning, I really like taking level 1 trades when I don't have, or when there are no minions around, especially since he missed his Q. So I just wanted to poke him a little bit there and get my electrocute. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying to poke him and get him to unmount, and then could potentially look for an all-in or set up for a gank, because I definitely have a range advantage. So right here he does walk in and get a hook on me, and I was really surprised at the damage that he did. But yeah, like I mentioned, I don't have armor and I end up getting pretty low, but I've got corrupting pots ticking away, and he only had 1 health pot and Dorn's Blade, so I'm thinking I just want to keep getting him lower so that soon Poppy can come over. Got his nullifying orb out there. And I'm pretty sure right here I forced him to recall. I pretty much always walk forward to delay their recall, because that way they end up missing more minions. And right here, I didn't realize that this wave was gonna die. So if I left the wave in that position, then my wave would have been slow pushing to him, so I would have ended up losing a lot of creeps. So I didn't want to do that. So I just try to clear this wave out and then recall after. And I saw Lee's top. And then I try to let my jungler know, like I said, I'm B and I ping careful. I pretty much always do this as the mid laner. He still goes for the crab, but at least he knows that I'm not going to be around to help him, because a lot of the time junglers won't really realize when I recall if I don't communicate it to them. So that was good. Our top laner ended up killing the Silas after he died. And I'm gonna try to play really far back. Okay, so I see Elise here. I have pretty good vision, or I did when I had this little Ghost Poro. Like when I first walked into a lane, I still had Ghost Poro right here. So I have vision here, I had crab here, and I had pink right here. So did end up seeing Elise there. And I was already planning on playing really far back, even though I have flash, because Kled and Elise, they are pretty mobile champions that do a ton of damage. Like they're really strong early game. And I have Ignite, so even with my flash, I could end up dying if one of them sets up the gank with their CC, because I don't have a defensive summoner spell. Another thing you might notice is I take a cheap shot. I do this in a lot of matchups where I know I'm not really going to get poked, because the damage can add up a lot. Taste of Blood is really nice. It's a really good rune, but cheap shot I think scales better because it's only a 4-second cooldown, and I build GLP pretty much every game. And so I have W and E and GLP to proc cheap shot, and the damage ends up being pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good early, but it continues to be significant throughout the game. So this is good. I got Kled dismounted. That was a bad E. I didn't account for his movement speed, because I figured he would try to walk in to like go and get the CS, but I should have waited until he was closer. Or I should have just, you know, put the Q. Yeah. So I got his nullifying orb there, and right here I'm thinking I just want to keep the wave here, because even though I'm chunked, he's like more chunked, and this is really close to my tower, and I see Ali's bot, so I wanted to try to freeze, which I do get the freeze, and now Kled is pressured into staying in a lane. But even if he hits 6, he can't use his ult unless he's mounted. So since he had his wave pushing into me, I knew he was going to hit 6 first, but I also knew that when I hit my 6, I can just all in him like this. And he was really close to getting Scarl back there, but if I really needed to, I could have flashed away. I just figured he wouldn't quite be able to get her. Yeah, he needed one more auto. I mean, honestly, I was surprised he got that close to getting her in the first place. So, yeah, he was really low, and I just needed to make sure to land my stun, and that was pretty much it. And I don't have much mana here, but I really wanted to make sure to get this wave in. I was pretty sure Elise wouldn't show up because she was just bot. And you'll notice some stuff going on in the chat, and at some point I decided to mute people because it's just like, if people aren't communicating things that are really important, then I try to mute their chat. A lot of the time I try to mute chat anyways, because usually people don't really communicate useful things. So my lane is going all right. I would have liked to have had a bigger CS lead, but at least I killed him. And now Kled has ult, and I don't know exactly where Elise is, so I want to play really safe. Especially with a big wave coming into me. I just want to play super far back and never use my E. Try to ping out Mia to my top laner because I'm pretty sure he was going top. He could have done that thing where he fakes you out and then it, like, makes it look like he's going top in vision, but then roams bot side. That would have been pretty scary. So this ends up being a point where I decide to collapse, and I knew Kled was going to ult behind me, and I just wanted to make sure I got my ult off and got my stun off, but the enemy Jhin had flash. When I was running down here, I actually thought about going into the dragon pit and flashing over this wall because I knew Kled was going to ult, and if Kled ults, then I'm in a terrible spot. I mean, generally you don't really want to flank a SYNDRA, but to flank a SYNDRA and then get flanked as you're flanking, you end up just in between the entire enemy team. Whereas like with SYNDRA, you pretty much always want the enemy team on one side of you. I mean, that goes for a lot of mages, but it's because of your stun. So you'll see I get this ult off, and I was hoping I would be able to stun more people, but Elise repels, Kled's on this side of me, Leona's all the way over here, and Jhin flashes it. So my stun ends up just hitting nothing, and now I'm in a terrible spot, and I just wanted to make sure Jhin died, so I queued him. Whereas if I had come around here and flashed over this wall because I knew Kled was going to ult, I could have put myself in a position where everyone would have been on one side of me, and this fight potentially could have gone a lot better for us if I had come down here into the dragon pit and flashed the wall. And then I could have had an ult on Leona, even though she's a tank, like just to make sure I take her out of the fight and to set up all of my spheres on the ground here to stun these three. But Yeah, the fight ends up going pretty rough after I die. Yeah, pretty sure Ezreal dies too. And right now this game is looking very, very difficult to win. Another reason why I like GLP is because you get two good early item buys, one being Lost Chapter and the other being Revolver. Whereas like with Ludens, you know, you get Lost Chapter, which is nice for having mana after you wave clear. But then you get Blasting Wand, and then you still need a pretty large chunk of gold before you can finish Ludens. Whereas with GLP, I'm pretty sure you only need like 450 or something once you have both components. There's a lot of reasons why I like to go GLP over Ludens right now. I'll probably make a video about it. So now I have no flash. Even where I'm standing right now is kind of a dangerous position because Elise could come from Raptors or could have come from behind on this side or down here. And if I get hit with Cocoon, I'm pretty much dead. Like, Elise is really fed. The Kled is decently strong. But that's one thing I want to make sure I never get hit by. Yeah, so here's what I was talking about. And this was sort of just a panic. I thought Elise wouldn't be able to get her Cocoon off. But she got it off right before my stun. So I didn't like juke or anything because I didn't realize she got it off. Yeah, because I was just thinking she'd be stunned right here. A lot of Elises like to start with auto attack or Q as well to make you think they're gonna throw their Cocoon. Whoops, I don't know what that was. But he just threw it and I didn't juke or anything because, I mean, part of why I didn't juke is because I don't want to just walk into Kled and let him Q me. Either way, I'm probably dead here, so I should have at least played back more until my ult was up. Like, yeah, this is just really far up. I should wait for the wave to come into me because I don't have flash or ult. If I have either of those, then I can feel a little more comfortable. That also should have been a bit of a sign to me where Kled went in for the Q. I figured he was just doing it to trade. But also that Elise W did a ton of damage to me. At this point, I didn't realize how fed Elise was. It did, yeah, it did about 276, just that Elise W. So yeah, I started muting people because there's no point in typing out things that don't matter. I mean, I typed this just because I was like surprised that I died to that. It wasn't necessarily to like flame anyone or anything. So Kled's slowly getting his courage back from hitting the tower. But he's still overstaying a little bit. He's just gonna finish this wave and recall. I can't remember exactly what happens here. I think he does recall. And then I just try to get my CS, ping Mia in case he's ulting bot. And I was pretty surprised to see that we got the Leona. The Elise, I guess, didn't get there in time. And yeah, since Elise had just shown bot and I have that ward behind me, I wasn't too afraid pushing out that wave. Even though Kled could ult me, I have ult and ignite, and I was pretty sure I would at least trade 1-for-1 and maybe kill both of them if they went for a play on me, because I could have ran to tower. Yeah, here I was just hoping Silas wouldn't have a ward in river, because I could have gotten blue buff and a shutdown on him. So I thought it was worth a try to roam for that, especially because we're really behind. So I can't quite afford GLP, which is too bad. But in hindsight, that roam, it's just like, since there's such a high chance that Silas has a ward in river, or at least like maybe Kled will ping and then Silas will just leave anyways, it was pretty desperate for me to roam there. and I probably didn't need to. But at this point I was thinking my team was like mentally like struggling, because everybody was having a pretty rough game and people were typing in chat. Or at least 2 people were typing a lot in chat who I muted. Senna and Poppy. But yeah, I think that's definitely what you have to do if people are distracting you. Okay, I didn't mute him yet, but I think I'll mute him soon. Because I mean, I don't think that's a troll pick. I just think NIGHTBLUE's somewhat tilted. And I checked his stream after this game too. He was on like a really big loss streak and stuff. So I roam down here because, let me go back. I was thinking Kled has to be roaming bot, right? Because he shows up here and Elise has gone bot a lot, and they have a Leona and they have a lot of stuff that they can use to dive bot. Like Elise, Kled, Leona, they're all good for turret diving. I see the Elise, I ping the Mia, and I was gonna recall, but then I realized I should show up here. Yeah, so Elise drops the Rift Herald because I figured they would dive. It seemed really obvious. And if they didn't, then maybe I could have gone for another play. So I really wanted to make sure I killed Elise, so I ult her during my stun and I ignite her just in case she would like go for a flash away. And I'm gonna end up getting Leona too. And I couldn't quite get in range there. I really considered flashing, but I just thought it wouldn't be worth, like, because Kled has Q when he dismounts, so he has his dash, so I thought there was a good chance I wouldn't hit, and my flash is super valuable because at this point I just got that big shutdown on Elise and that kill on Leona, so I'm starting to get a little bit more gold, pushing out this wave, getting a turret plate. Like, I've got a lot of gold here actually, and I'm thinking maybe I can carry this, so I don't want to use my flash. I made sure to walk up and auto this, so I got the plate gold. It's funny, I didn't mean to type carry you because they're probably still typing in chat and they maybe thought that I was saying like, yeah, I can carry you, or whatever. I just meant to say like maybe I can carry. I don't know that it really matters. So this buy, I just wanted to spend all my gold. Like, I want to be as strong as I can, so I just went with a needlessly large rod. And I'm trying to encourage my team a bit. Like, this game isn't over. I go for a roam bot because I figured they might dive again. And the Leona was positioning really aggressively. So that works out. And I'm a little scared walking to this brush, so I want to make sure to check with W first. I also have flash, so if I didn't have flash, I probably wouldn't walk through there ever. Get back to mid to catch most of the wave. And so I'm decently strong. Just trying to play it safe. Stun the Kled away before he gets too close. And also with this needlessly large rod, I can just build Spellbinder. I really like that item nowadays, especially with GLP, because I can Spellbinder to close the gap and then GLP for the slow. So this is where it gets really good. 3-man stun, 3-man W, GLP, just like obliterate them. And then I flash away from the Kled because I didn't want the Q to proc. Land the W on him while also trying to get the angle on the Jhin. And quadra-kill. Pretty good. Yeah, so that's one thing I really thought about here. Just landing that W so I could cancel the rest of Jin's ult. One small mistake, I think I could have max range Q to hit the Jhin and the stun, but it ends up not being that bad because then he wastes his flash. But I could have max range that Q, and then of course I throw up the mastery. And then I unmute my teammates to see if they're saying good things or if they're encouraged now, or like maybe we can win. Like I'm curious to see. And then here's where I get the unofficial Penta. Messed up my stun slightly there, but we got him. Got his flash. And then at this point, I'm feeling pretty hyped, you know? Like I even type in chat like pentakill. And I'm like, maybe I really can carry this. Like I have 3,000 gold now. And so I just want to be as strong as possible. So I figured I would go with Spellbinder and then look into going Zonya's next, so that I have a little bit more survivability against this team with assassins. Like Kled, Elise, Silas, those pretty much are all assassins. Even though Kled is a bruiser, he's a diver. So he's just gonna try to jump on me and kill me. And it's really difficult to get Kled off, because if I use my ult on him and he's already landed Q, like if I use on my burst and he dismounts and his Q's on me already, then he gets that untargetable dismount and I end up being in a really bad spot. So that was a bad stun by me. And right here I'm thinking there's no way we win this fight, but we end up getting a nice set turnaround. And I definitely could have done some things better here. I was really hoping Senna would block that for me, because whenever Poppy steals, or Silas steals someone's ult, I mean, even if it's a Poppy ult, Silas just does a lot of damage with his ult. So I was running to the side here, really hoping. Oh, I also didn't use my Spellbinder. That's a really big mistake, actually. To dodge, I should have used Spellbinder. I ended up not getting my ult off. Like this was just a really weird situation. I should have just used it on the Kled. I was being greedy, and I was thinking I have to be really careful with my ult, because I wanted to wait until I had stun, but I needed to make sure just to get ult down somewhere, because then if I ult, you know, I get all the orbs on the ground and I can get a big stun. I still ended up getting a decent stun on Kled and Silas. But yeah, I want to see how much damage that Poppy ult did. I mean, I saw right there, it looked like it did like 250. And right here, I really want to get stopwatch. Yeah, we end up killing both of these people, I think. And I'm just trying to keep the morale high. It's not like I'm exhausting myself typing out win conditions and things like that. I'm just trying to cheer my team and myself on, you know? Because I think it does help if it seems like I'm trying my best, especially when I'm really fed. Right here, I actually thought I pressed R, but maybe I pressed it like too quick, like when I was using GOP or something. I don't know, I guess I just didn't quite press it there, but it ends up being okay because the Silas goes on me. And that's easy, that's a just press R moment right there. And we got Kled's flash too. So I'm feeling really confident. And this is where I get myself in a bit of trouble because of that confidence. I really should have warded or checked this brush up here, because I knew Elise was going to be around somewhere. And I just didn't respect it. So Elise ult into, or Elise cocoon into Leon ult, and I'm super dead. I probably should sell the corrupting potion and get stopwatch. I don't know if I end up doing that here, because the enemy team doesn't really have much poke anyways. So it's not like, I mean, corrupting is still nice to have sometimes, but it's not that relevant. Like stopwatch is pretty much always going to be more relevant in a team fight, especially against this team. Or maybe I was thinking I can just go and farm real quick and then buy the Zhonya's and keep the corrupting potion, because there probably isn't going to be a fight. So if there was going to be a fight right now, like if I knew we were going to fight over Baron, then I probably would have sold the corrupting out stopwatch. But I figured I had enough time to go and kill some minions and stuff and then buy it. So right here, I just want to make sure to hold my E in case any potential dangerous situation comes up. Although I might use it trying to like catch someone, because if I stun Jhin, if that Jhin positioned a little more forward and I got a stun on him, I could definitely one-shot him. Right here we're just A-ramming. I am not really a fan of this, but it's just, if I were to go in a side lane, it wouldn't be that good. I think Silas has Merc Treads, and that's why I couldn't land my full combo on him. I also could have tried to Spellbinder to go for it, but so now Kled could definitely be flanking with his ult, and we want to be aware of that. But I see we got to pick onto Elise, and that's really good. So now if Kled flanks us, it's not even that big of a deal. And it's a good time to just siege mid. Our Ezreal is also putting in a good amount of work. Yeah, right here I was getting really bored of the ARAM. But I just wanted to make sure I was around in case my team fought. Like, if I show bot and then Kled ults mid, it's going to be really difficult for me to get there in time. Now I want to make sure to reset for the Ocean Dragon. Get my Zhonya's, get a pink ward. I thought about buying 2 pink wards there, and now I'm just looking at all the actives in my inventory, because, I mean, pink ward as well. Like, normally I'd have my pink ward on, like, 1 or 2 or 3, but I pretty much always put my defensive item on 2. I put, like, my starting item on 1, and I put my, you know, like, regular cast item on T. You can see I have my T key binded down here. I think it's important to have kind of usual settings for your active items. Like, so I say starting item because I pretty much always want to start with Spellbinder during a fight. And that's where I would put like Yomu's Ghostblade as well if I was playing a Yomu's champion. Just like any speed up item, pretty much, I put on 1. Any defensive item, like basically it comes down to Quicksilver and Zhonya's Hourglass, I put on 2. And then active items that I regularly use, like GLP or Protobelt, I put on T. And then I always have my potions on 3, so I was just trying to figure out where to put the pink ward. I ended up just leaving it on 6, and I was thinking, yeah, just put it down somewhere soon for the Ocean Drag. I really like that position for the ward as long as I'm strong enough to defend it and my team's there to back me up. If I put it down there too early, then we won't be able to defend it. But since we're all here, it ends up holding out for a little while. They got it there, but it just made it hard for them to walk into that area for a little bit. So we get full priority on this dragon. I positioned in the pit just in case they do Kled ult and go crazy. I wanted to make sure to have my whole team in front of me. Because you never want to be on the... I mean, sometimes you actually do want to be on the front line of SYNDRA if you're starting a fight out with an engage like a... So here goes this fight. And I just ult the front line, I flash the Leona ult, and I just try to get my stun down. Right there before I flashed away, I made sure to use my E. Kled comes in. Jhin isn't targeting me with his ult, so I'm not worried. And I still have Zhonya's available. So just to recap on this fight, Ezreal does end up getting that kill, yeah. So I got a QUADRAKILL and Ezreal got a QUADRAKILL. Although mine, I wish it was a Penta. Like, it almost counted, I think. So at the very start of the fight, you see I press my Spellbinder, I press my GLP, and I put my ult on a set. That way I can get all the orbs down. And I end up in an awkward position, but I still get a decent stun off onto 3 or 4 people. And Clegg comes in. I messed up my stun a little bit there. I should have waited till he... I either should use it right as he comes in, or I should use it after he dismounts, but instead I used it right as he did his thing. So here I am still trying to be positive. I really do think being positive helps a little bit. I don't know how much it's increased my win rate in the long run. But I know, like, I for one like it if I'm having a rough game and like my teammates are positive, like it actually feels like we can win. Whereas like this game, I could have been flaming, I could have been complaining about how people were doing, and then everyone would just end up giving up. So next up I want to build Void Staff, because that's just going to be the most damage, and because they have a little bit of MR and they'll probably try to get more. I also got a blue elixir because Void Staff is going to be cheap anyways. Like, Void Staff will probably be my last item. Like, I'm hoping we'll be able to close out the game. And just for these sieging situations where there's a good chance the enemy team will try to engage on us, or there's also a chance I'll be able to poke a little bit with my E. So I really like the extra damage on the blue pot, not even to mention the extra tower damage. It really helps if there's a situation where some of the other people die. Like if Ezreal dies, then I can do a lot of work on towers. Like you'll see here, my autos do a lot of damage. We end up being split. It's good that we're trying to get mid priority. I really wanted to have the team top because these are basically free turrets since we have Baron. But I realized the enemy team was probably going to engage mid, which they did, so I started rotating. And this fight actually isn't looking that terrible, so I just want to make sure I use my combo properly. Normally I would start with GLP, but that E just looks so free onto the Jhin that I went for it. I accidentally ulted the the person that said ulted, and we end up finishing him off. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we closed out the game here, and I was thinking to myself, like, was it the blue pot that made the difference in ending the game? I feel like maybe we could have still ended without it. Like, we probably could have. Like, I felt kind of bad for NIGHTBLUE because Senna was like hard flaming and he seemed like super tilted. So I was just like, just trying to say like, yeah, don't let the haters get to you, man. Because I know it feels terrible to be tilted, especially in front of like a live audience and like doing bad. So I was just trying to encourage him a bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I carried NIGHTBLUE3 as SYNDRA. So thanks for watching.